Okay, here we go. In my opinion, he is our Paddy McAloon, our Stephen Merritt, and even Bob Ratten. Sorry, but I have to mention indie musicians and indie songwriters, and that is how I feel about this most talented gentleman. He has made some of the most memorable music in the last 20 years of OPM history with bands like Sugar Free, Cambio, and 3D. With us tonight is a most talented gentleman who I admire, whose songs I love, and every chance I get, I try to talk to him. So maybe some of that greatness and awesomeness will rub off on the person like me. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rick Olivares. Our guest tonight is none other than Ebe Dancel. Ebe, good
Hey,
evening.
good evening, Rick. So good to see you, man. So good to see you.
So good to see you also. How's everything right now with you after the launch of your record and all that?
Oh well, things kind of, you know, fell apart
Are you
for
serious?
for everyone. I mean, since the pandemic,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
all the plans are on hold right now. Life, as we know it, is on hold.
Mm.
But given the situation, I'm grateful to be here still. You know.
Right, right. I want to, let's get it off and running. This record, I got this. In fact, I have two of them. Three. One for my son, two for me.
Oh wow, thank you.
Um, how's was this one for your bucket list as well? And how is the record doing?
Oh, yes. To the bucket list. I grew up listening to vinyl records. We had so
Mhm.
few of them, but we had like you know one of those tables talaga
Mm.
with the speakers and all. That's what we
Yeah,
had.
yeah.
With the cabinet pa, and then you
Oh,
gotta open the cabinet, and
that's right.
that's
Yeah.
what we had. That's what we had when I was. I remember I was 4 years old in Apari,
Ah,
listening to the Beatles, and I wasn't allowed to touch the record player because I was a very clumsy kid, and have this. Whenever I'm around, things just fall apart. you know, so but I do remember sitting in front of it, wondering how it works, opening, closing the cabinet. That's the only thing I was allowed to do. No records, no playing. So And I understand that there are few artists who are given the opportunity to release their work in vinyl. So,
yeah.
big thanks to Poly East, my label. This was their idea, by the way. I was happy with the CD eh. Kasi
Okay.
these days, parang kokonti na lang naglalabas ng CDs. So sabi ko sa Poly East when I signed with them again last year,
Uh-huh.
sabi ko, I want an album but I want it in CD because I'm from the CD generation, the cassette tape generation.
That's right.
So we did release the CD,
Uh-huh.
and the record came out sometime last month.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, um tas naubos agad.
Naubos
So
agad within days, huh?
it's overwhelming. So maraming salamat sa lahat
Pero
ng bumili.
is it true that it's going through another printing right now, another pressing, a
That's
second
true.
batch?
That's true. So if I'm not mistaken, they're being made in Hong Kong as we speak, and they
Right.
should be out by early November. So,
Nice.
yeah, I'll keep you guys posted.
That's gonna make a nice Christmas gift for those who are not able to get the CD and the record as well. No? Before we go any further, si Jugs ng Itchy Worms nanonood. Eh,
Whoa!
pinapasabi ni Jugs, please ask Ebe kung nasaan yung Beatles book na hiniram niya 18 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry, the audio got cut off. What, Jugs? What? Huh? What? What? Sorry, I let's move on to the next question. I didn't quite hear that one. Hi, Jugs. Love you.
Sorry,
Sorry.
he's watching. He's watching. Okay. Um, you know,
He lent me this book that I refuse to give back. What a friend.
Oh, nga. Okay. Um, I said earlier, no, that when this record came out, it sold out. But you decided to re-record some of your classic songs. No? Why the decision? Essentially, Balik Tanaw is like a greatest hits record. Tama ba? Am I right in assuming that?
Something like that. I mean, there were a lot more songs that I wanted in there, but
Hmm.
you know, we had very little time to produce the album, and it was tough choosing songs.
Okay. So does
And
it
there's a new song in there as
really?
well called Hanggang Kailan Kita May Hintay, which was the first single from that album.
So does it mean we might be seeing a second record from you? A
Uh,
second Balik Tanaw? Since you left out a lot of your classic stuff?
oh man, the reason why I did that album was to basically celebrate 20 years.
That's right. Yeah.
20 years also of Sugar Free. And I do get letters almost every day asking for reunion and whatnot. And obviously at this point, there's kind of a lot on my plate. So this
Mhm.
is the closest that I can give to the fans for if it weren't for the fans naman talaga,
Of course.
'di ba? Mahirap mag-succeed sa mainstream eh. So,
That's right. That's right.
yeah.
That's right. Ebe, 20 years in the music industry. So you came in at the tail end of that 90s wave of bands, diba? Led by the Eraserheads, Tropical
Yeah.
Depression, Color It Red. At the time, entering the new millennium for you. Did you see that the band scene was sort of waning and, what were your thoughts back then? I wouldn't know because, first of all, I wasn't in this country. I was out. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts around that time.
Well, about that, I didn't really care if they were saying that the whole band scene was going down. I do remember when we formed the band on one hand you had that was a rise of sila Noy Volante, sila Paulo Santos, the
Mm-hmm.
whole acoustic thing. And on the other side of the spectrum naman, there were bands lording it over like Slapshot,
Mm.
Queso, Greyhounds, like
Oh, yung mga Cubao bands, no?
great and loud bands.
Uh-huh.
And we were like somewhere in between, and um, I don't think a lot of musicians that time were writing mostly in Filipino. So, um, ano lang, sinundan ko lang yung sarili kong kumpas, and then I just wrote uh, what I felt at the moment. Strange thing because diba kasi we all think there's a voice inside our heads, diba,
Yeah.
when we talk to ourselves.
Mm.
I talk to myself in English, but whenever I write, parang when it's in Tagalog, it feels like home talaga eh. I'm so comfortable,
Yeah.
I'm loose, and there are no inhibitions. So, um, yeah. So I remember when Poly East, which was known as EMI dati, signed us
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Sabi nila, we love your songs, but what do we do with you? I remember that conversation, and sabi ko lang, syempre, bata ka, malakas sa loob mo eh. So sabi ko, just put me out there, put us out there, and we'll do the rest. We'll do the playing, we'll do the touring, we'll do whatever
Right.
it takes.
Right.
Yeah.
And sa wakas took off, di ba? Sa wakas was a success.
Ah, define success.
Well, songs like Mariposa, Burnout, they were on regular airplay. Everyone knew who Sugar Free was and what that band stood for. And that's why I had to tell my brother back here in the Philippines. I said, hey, we're the big bands right there. Sugar Free. Oh, get me their CD, get me their CD. And he wouldn't have bought it if he thought that you guys were, to put it, hot shit, diba?
That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Oh, definitely. I remember when I played the CD back in New York, and I was like, wow, great stuff over here. And I thought of, I thought of Stephen Merritt, Bob Ratton of Trembling Blue Stars, and the Field Mice. I thought of Paddy, and I said, wow, these are heavy, heavy songs that they cut right here. And I thought of the early E-heads also, di ba? Parang wow. So, yun, I thought that Sugar Free, and then about a year or two later, Up Dharma Down came out, along with, I think around the time, Orange and Lemons then. So, kahit
Yeah.
paano, nagtuloy-tuloy, and all of you were doing different stuff.
Right. I do remember when we entered the scene, and then shortly after Bamboo joined the label.
That's
They
right.
were with EMI.
Oh,
And then Hale was also there. So I think it was Bamboo talaga who reminded people na parang, hey, bands are still around and, you know, we're still making music. So people started going to shows again. Mainstream people at least. Kasi yung eksena ng Greyhounds, ng Quezon,
mhm.
it was absolutely intimidating performing with them. Kasi talagang nagsiset up ako, tas magcha-chant sila, keso, keso. So, malakas din yung malakas din yung scene, but yung mainstream, um, Bamboo, I think, put us back on the map. I think. Yeah.
Well, so
But,
did your band.
well, yeah, I was, I really believe, Rick, that, our situation was a bit like, you have to be at the right place at the right time, and
Mm,
we were there. We didn't freeload because we had to work for every show, but that wave of new bands, or like as you mentioned, Orange and Lemons, and then shortly after, the Itchworms became really big with the
yeah,
mainstream hits, and
yeah,
Up Dharma Down, Sandwich. Man, I had so much fun touring with all of those bands, and we all became like really close friends. Until till today, we try to keep in touch.
that's right. Not long after the release of Sawakas, no, Cambio's Derby Light came out. I think 1 year apart. What was
I
it?
think so.
Yeah, 1 year apart. What was it like playing with those guys, with Rames, with Slabody? And then si Chris, di ba? Si Chris joined them as Kelly's replacement, and they're uh, medyo may backlash ng konti, pero hindi naman
Yeah,
lahat. No? Pero
yeah.
nagpatuloy kayo ng Cambio. Can you talk about that? Essentially, that's a super group along with Diego Mapa.
I guess if you could call it that. When Ellie left, Chris, my sister-in-law, joined, and then when Marcus left, I got a call from Raymond. Sabi niya, pare, alam mo ba yung kanta ng Eheads? Like, naman. So I
Naman!
started touring with them. I did like 6 or 7 shows, like
Oh, wow.
big stages sa mga probinsya. It was a very, the movie Rockstar. It was a very rockstar moment
Wow.
for
Wow.
me, and I got to sing some of the songs. So I remember singing Magdadrive ako, and then everyone would go wild.
Wow.
Doon pa lang pwede na mag-quit. Sabi ko, you know what, I can, I
Thankfully,
give
hindi.
up. After the show, this is it for me to sing one of my favorite songs, and to
Wow.
hear 10,000 people cheering. But with Cambio kasi, I really believe that it's more family than bandmates.
Right.
Raymond shares the same sentiments. Like he said, some one time he said, Cambio is just an excuse for us to get together. Kasi minsan nag-ano pa yan, nagpipiknik pa kami. All the kids would be there during recording, and it was a family affair
Okay.
for Cambio, and it also gave me a chance to appreciate other musicians better. Like Jego Mapa. Jego comes from another world. He had Monster Bot,
Monster
and
Bond.
yeah. Tapos doon ko lang na-appreciate yung genius ni Jego Mapa. Like, stuff that he did on guitar, none of us could copy. Like, how'd you do that? Sabi niya, I don't know. Basta, tumitipa-tipa lang ako. This is what I came up with. And we had the time of our lives, recording. And mas mahaba pa yung kwentuhan kesa sa recording.
Uh,
And
uh,
we actually did the show last year.
that's right.
And
Reunion, di ba?
yeah, we did like
I'm kicking myself for missing that. Was that Century Mall?
yeah, it was. We rehearsed twice. The first time, like, we all took turns fumbling. We would stop in the middle of the song, and then someone would go, "Is that the chorus or the verse?" But by the second rehearsal, you felt confident that we could do the show, and then just hanging out with them again backstage, brought back so many good memories over, just Freedom Bar and hanging out at the third line office of Butch Dance, who used to manage Sugar Free and Cambio, and just learning, being on the road with Raymond and Buddy. You spend 5 minutes with them. My God, talagang wealth of knowledge, of wisdom, of information yung makukuha mo sa kanila. Which is why I chose to keep working with them. With Sugar Free, they produced Drum Machine, and then Buddy went on to produce the last Sugar Free album and my first uh, solo album. So
Right.
yeah.
I have one last question about the time that you were performing the Eraserheads also.
Yeah.
Did at any point did you feel like Billy Preston, who was sometimes called the fifth Beatle, playing with John, Paul, George, and Ringo? Did you get that feeling? Billy Preston playing Get Back, the trumpet, playing sometimes other stuff.
I was living my dream, Rick. I was playing for the Eraserhead. So I didn't care what people thought. I didn't care what I thought. Parang, every time yung magte-text yung manager ko, "Oh guys, may gig next week sa ano." Talagang pumped ako for days. And then sila Raymond and Buddy would show up. They've been doing this their whole life. So parang steady lang sila. Tapos ako yung parang, alright, let's go. Let's get it. Ako yung pinaka-excited sa banda. And Chris, Chris is always so calm and collected. And, but
That's
it was one of my best experiences as a musician. Not just singing the Eraserhead songs, but having the chance to work with Buddy and Raymond and Chris and Jago, I have nothing but fond memories of my time with the band.
mhm. Okay. Touching on that, you also perform with another super group, 3D. And that's a totally different milieu, diba? Totally different genre. But
Right.
no less talented. I love Jonoy, I love Bullet. Intense musicians. I love their songs. I remember nasa Jess and Pats tayo, I had that good fortune of interviewing the three of you right there, right before your concert.
Oh, the press con, yeah.
Yeah, at Jess and Pats, Maginhawa, di ba? So, ano naman yung, it's another supergroup, but how is it different from Cambio?
Well, I basically, I'll tell you a secret. I basically forced my way into that group. Ang kapal talaga ng mukha ko kung ano-anong pinapasok ko, Rick. Kasi John and Bullet were already doing shows. And they were one of the first productions na talaga pag maglalabas ng poster, ang gara, ang ganda talaga.
Oh,
So I decided to go to one of their shows. It was at 70s Bistro. Tapos sabi ko sa kanila, "Hey, can I talk to you guys?"
one of the first.
Sabi, "Sure." Sabi ko, you guys are doing really well. And it's great. This whole experience is great. But I think I fit in. I think I should be part of this. I muscled my way in. They were, and then nag-usap kami parang, "Hey, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Let's do a few shows and we'll see how it goes." Our first one was October of 2014. Yeah, 2014 at Route 196. So more than 100 people came in. So tuntua kaming lahat. Parang, yeah, right. right. So we just kept doing it, and the shows got bigger and bigger. But the bond also between the three of us got stronger and stronger. So, you know, we still have our Viber group. We have Zoom meetings once in a while where Bullet shows up wearing a barong for absolutely no reason. Yeah.
But I should
And
expect that from him, right? That's so bullet.
it's so Bullet. We're actually working on something together. So I can't
Nice.
yeah, I can't discuss the details yet because it's not my story to tell. So hopefully one of these days you well when it does become official, I'll text you agad.
Great, great. Before we continue our conversation, so that you know, Ebe, we have someone watching from Germany. Hindi siya Pinoy.
Awesome.
German, ha?
Awesome. Awesome.
But he's lived here. He's familiar with the scene. We also have someone watching from London. And half Pinoy, half Brit. Nanonood sila ngayon. Hi Ryan and hi Eric. It's we want to thank you for watching this cold brew with Ebe Dancel. Okay, moving on. Uh, I have almost all your albums. I lost you sa Sugar Free. May nawawalang isa dahil
Drum
naon doon.
machine.
Yes,
You
no?
showed that to me.
That's right, no?
Show that to me.
When we talked about it, nagulat ako. You said you didn't have any copies of your stuff. No, no copies. Alam mo, alam mo pare,
Oh my
bilang
gosh.
birthday and Christmas gift ko sa'yo ha, maghahanap ako, bibilan ka ng CD pa.
Yeah, or if there are any good souls out there with extra copies of my sugar-free CDs, help a guy out. Come on. Dati kasi binibigyan ang galante ng label so they give me like 20 copies.
Oh,
Lalo na yung first album. Oh, here's 10 CDs and 10 cassette tapes. Sabi ko, these are all mine? Sabi nga, yes, they're called complimentary albums. I don't have to pay for them. No, no, read your contract. So, oh, awesome. So, lahat ng mga kasalubong ko, hey, here's my cassette. Yung mga kaibigan ko, hey, here's my CD. I ended up with 0 copies wait, I was sa Wakas, Drum Machine, Talaarawan,
oh.
Mornings in the airports. Also, there was the best of Sugar Free. Someone gave me a copy. And I ended up giving that away too. So when I went solo, sabi ko, I will keep all my albums. So I've had 3 so far. I had Dalawang Mukha ng Pag-ibig under Warner, which
Yeah.
I have. I have Bawat Daan Bawat Daan under Star Music.
Yeah.
And Balik Tanaw under Poly East Records. So I'm doing like a record label tour if you haven't noticed. So each album is with a different label.
Are you able to talk about what you're doing now with the label?
Right.
It's a good
No,
time to
wala.
promote it as well.
With Poly East?
Yeah.
Yeah. I signed with Poly East at the beginning of the year kasi I was in the middle of preparing for my first solo concert. I've had concerts with 3D and with Sugar Free and all, but I've never had a show of my own. So I told my manager to see, you know what, parang, hey, let's just talk to Poly East. Maybe we can do an album together. So nag-usap kami, nagkwentuhan kami, and we came up with the concept. Recorded the whole album in 8 days.
Nice.
Yeah, mostly because of my producer Chino David. He coordinated everything, from the wind to the strings to everything. So, yeah, we released Balik Tanaw on CD last February 29, which coincided with my concert. And then 2 weeks later, the world shut down. But thankfully my CDs are available again, Lazada and Shopee.
Okay.
Yes.
You mentioned the pandemic happened, and I want to connect it. I don't know if there's a connection. Maybe it's a stretch. I don't know. Your songs really resonate with a lot of people. That's why a lot of people love the songs. They're from the gut, from the heart. They're gut wrenching, heart wrenching. They're for the lovelorn, for those
Mm.
romantic, saan hinuhugot yon? At ito yung connection sa pandemic. Meron ka bang nasulat na bago nitong pandemic? Yan.
Answer the first question first. Um, the songs kasi I always write kasi in isolation eh.
Mm.
So I'm no stranger to this whole lockdown thing. There was a whole album in Talaarawan I wrote in isolation. I rented a space in Makati and basically did not come out of the house except for shows until I finished writing songs for that album. So
Wow.
how they resonate sa mga tao, it's I believe kasi music is always like a super personal experience eh.
Mm.
You may connect a song of mine to an event in your life, like maybe sinagot ka ng girlfriend mo or someone passing or
Mm.
your graduation. So the songs become photographs in words and music.
Mm.
That's how I've always seen music. And the I forgot the second question was. I'm sorry.
Did you write anything in, you
Ah, right.
having working in isolation and having had a lot of time to reflect, have you written anything new na makapagdamdamin? No, yung talagang sapul na naman tayo dito sa puso.
In 7 months, I've written one whole song and three songs that I never really got to finish. I guess I'm taking my time.
Right?
Um, Kasi kung kailangan nag-pandemic, ngayon pa talaga ako naging busy. I was,
Yeah.
running around a lot pre-COVID for shows and all, and recording and guestings. But now, there's a lot of things that I'm taking care of. Music doesn't necessarily take a backseat. I'm still performing. In
Yeah.
fact, I think I've won a few days from now. But when it comes to songwriting, I want to be very, very careful about what I say next. I'm always careful naman,
Mhm.
about what I do next, what I say next, and how it best represents who I am. Um, so, yeah, stuff like that.
Iba yung response ng fans. Uh, the way they swoon, they cry, the way it appeals to them, the way it resonates with them. And you told me they write letters to you, what the songs mean to them. Can you talk about that? What about that connection with the fans, no? Your songs? Even the
Um,
sugar free songs.
yeah,
To
yeah.
now, you see the young kids, they know it. You know.
Oh, nga eh. Gulat. I meet some fans and then I ask them, how old are you? I'm 18, sir. It's like, all right. You know that I wrote this song 2 years before you were born? That's my favorite song. It's like, okay. I'm sure your mom loved me or something. That's how you heard of me. But thanks to social media, I get letters almost daily. Facebook, I get messages on Instagram, on Twitter also. Um, but just people mostly these days, just people telling me about their experiences in this time of the pandemic and how some of the songs have helped. So I'm always grateful for that because music does
Yeah.
save lives. Not talking about my music, okay? Just music in general.
Naalala mo nung last year sa Gen W concert sa UP and your voice wasn't there. I think
I remember.
you had a little problems with your voice around the time, but you gave it your best like you always do. And then at some point, because I think there were about 7,000 people Sunken Garden. They carried you and were singing the songs. No, what was that like? That nights at Gen W. Usap tayo backstage, but so for the benefit of the fans, what was it like then?
both, you know, humbling and embarrassing. Embarrassing because um whenever I play a show kasi, whether it's for 3 people or 3,000 people, I learned this from Diego Castillo of Sandwich. Ang sabi niya, you shouldn't give a shit how many people watch.
Mm.
Just do your best. Just play like it's your last show ever. So that's what I always do. But until last year, I was having problems with my health, my physical health, and
Are you all
whatnot.
right now? Are you okay, Ebe?
Yeah, I
Oh, that's
am.
good. That's good to know.
I am. Yeah. People say I look okay. So,
Yeah, well, you do look okay.
yeah. But backstage was also a special moment because the Sugar Free drummer Kaka,
Mm.
who plays for True Faith
No
now.
faith. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So, sabi sa akin, Kaka's looking for you. He's at the True Faith tent.
yeah.
Pagpasok ko, parang nagkakasayahan lahat. So, nag-catch up kami. I was supposed to save my voice. So, we ended up like laughing for a whole hour. But it's, and in 2020, I think it was 2015. I basically battled laryngitis for the whole year. That
Oh,
was
wow.
also, yeah, that time I was excuse me, recording the album Bawat Daan. So it really took a toll on me. I was, embarrassed. I was ashamed to go out and perform. Tapos nakakahiya kasi pupunta ako ron and people were doing the singing for me. But at the same time, it was you know, nakaka-touch yung gesture nila eh. Parang,
Moving, no?
okay, yeah, you can't sing, don't worry, we'll carry you. We'll finish the show for you and with you. And that's why, that's why I really love and miss my fans, because there's nothing like singing to a person and that person singing back to you.
Mm.
These days, I sing in front of this camera and the wall.
Mm.
So, so huge yung drop off eh.
That's right.
Ah, but
You mentioned Kakaki Sumbing, no? What was it like to have played with two outstanding drummers in Mitch Singson and as well as Kakaki?
but
Simple lang yung palo eh. Simple lang yung hagod, pero sakto lang. Sakto. Hindi
yeah,
yung palo, hindi yung over. Di ba?
yeah.
So what's it like playing with these two guys?
I like Kaka's playing was more adventurous eh.
Mm.
Kasi ano yan, nagpa-pop yan, nagja-jazz. Yeah, people don't know this, but he's an excellent guitar player. As in
Oh,
shredder.
holy cow. I should...
Yeah, there was one song in our last album that I couldn't quite get right. So I went out. Tapos pagbalik ko, sabi niya, ako na lang nag-record. He did the whole shredding thing and parang, why didn't you say so? Why didn't you just play guitar on all the songs? I hate playing guitar. That time, I hated playing the guitar. But Mitch and our bond, um, we started becoming really good friends when he left the band. Kasi, um, Sugar Free talaga, from a band that nobody wanted to see or hear, to a band that had to be everywhere. So it really took a toll on us talaga. We didn't get a chance to like really enjoy the moment because we were running around and we weren't used to the whole fame thing. But when he left the band, that's when he and I really connected. So, na-explain niya, this is how I felt when I was with the band. And I thought you were like this and like that. And it turns out you're really okay. So I go, yeah, of course I'm okay. And you're okay too. So, till now, we're still very good friends. And Mitch's playing is more, more straight up.
Yeah.
Talagang, there are times na parang I swear I hear Dave Grohl in there, and his playing is so steady talaga. He kept the whole band together because Jal also, Jal,
Yeah.
Giles a great bassist, so he was always doing his thing, and myself, I'm, flailing away and hitting the wrong notes on the guitar. So it was really Mitch talaga na I believe na nagdala sa buong banda.
When I watch him, no, even with Shudan, feeling ko parang siyang Ringo Starr. Eh. Not,
Exactly.
not, not flashy, just right. He will
Just
hit the
right.
right notes, the right sound, the right dynamics. Other guys will just whack the hell out of that kit.
Right. But
But
si Mitch kasi kung ano yung kailangan, yun yung ibibigay niya sa'yo. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's what who he is, as a person talaga. Parang it's like what you see is what you get. And, he's always very friendly. Like, is there anything I can do to help you to make things better? That's the kind of person that Mitch is. So, I actually miss the hell out of that guy. Tawagan ko nga bukas.
I see him once in a while pag, when I bring my bands over to perform at their place there in Pioneer.
Right.
Siya yung madalas kong kausap, di ba, along with some of his partners. Ayun, so,
Guys lost like 500 pounds. He's into CrossFit kasi.
oo nga.
Yun yung ano niya ngayon. Like, when we meet up, you tell me about his business and how passionate he is about it. Nasabi ko sa kanya, buti na lang umalis ka ng banda. He's doing great things now. Sabi niya,
Yeah,
yeah, well.
that's right, that's right. In fact, yung 1, 2, 3 block, it's become such an alternative venue for performances for local
Right,
artists.
right.
Lalo na ngayon, wala na yung route. Sakit nun, nawala yung route, di ba?
Yeah.
I hope the others are able to hold on. Ebe, I want to take you back last year. We bumped into each other in Singapore. We both saw you too. I want to ask
Yeah.
you about that. What did you think of the performance? And have you been a long time YouTube fan?
Yeah, I am. I've been a fan for a really long time now. So, me being cheap, I got a really bad seat, okay? To the band's far right. So,
Okay, okay.
yeah. I go, I can only hear the edge. So what my friend and I did, we went to the center talaga, found a spot. Hinanap ko kung nasan yung board. Kung nasan yung sound engineer nila. Tapos sabi ko sa kaibigan ko, that's him. We have to stand right behind him.
Okay.
And then, nung umabot na ako sa gitna, man, muntik na ako maiyak. It's beautiful. Really. Never in my life did I imagine that I would get to see you too. And I enjoyed myself so much. I went to see them again when they performed at the
Philippine Arena.
yeah,
Nice.
much closer. Like pag si Bono, kumakanta siya, tapos tumatalsik yung laway kasi sinasabi ko sa kasama ko, uy, nakita ko yung laway niya. Oh my God. And we'd go crazy. Laway ni Bono! Yeah! I am, more than anything, more than being a musician and a record label guy, I'm a music fan, So I appreciate good music. I follow all the bands that I like, and I make sure at least once a month I revisit YouTube, Sting, Foo Fighters, Bruno Major, the artists that I really enjoy.
Okay, so on that note, who are the artists, both local and foreign, who have influenced your music, your songwriting style?
Um, I would have to say that my all-time favorite songwriter is Gary Granada.
Yan.
Ah, man. I met him. Talagang ang dami kong mga bizarre moments sa buhay ko eh. Kaya parang music has given me such a life I never expected. I ran into Gary Granada at the Element Songwriting Camp back in, I don't even remember, 2009 I guess.
Hmm.
So when I saw him at the airport, I was like, oh my God, Gary Granada. Pinipicturean ko pa siya eh. Ganun ko pa siya. And then when we had the chance to sit down and introduce ourselves to each other, and then I was semi-drunk, and Sir Gary was getting there as well. He told me that you're Ebe. Sabi ko, yes sir. Sabi ko, you know who I am? Sabi niya, I listen to your songs. There's one song in particular that struck me. And then he goes on to dissect the song. That's sabi ko, sir,
Wow.
sir, do you realize that you're my hero and then you're dissecting my song and you're telling me parts that you like about it?
Wow.
Tapos, I was on the verge of tears, and then he said something like, yeah, you need to drink more tonight. So, I think he and I got, like, really, really drunk that night. So, I like Gary Granada. Um, my introduction to rock wasn't through the Eraserheads or River Maya even. It was through Colored Red. And I've told Cookie Chua
Yeah.
this, every time we go out for drinks. And then she keeps saying, paulit-ulit ka, nakwento mo na yan. Kasi ko, minum ka na, minum ka na lang dyan. Ganyan pa yung boses niya, minum ka na lang. Narinig ko na
Oh,
yan, Ebe. But yeah, so it was through Colored Red and then Yano. Yano, I think, um, really resonated. Kasi parang, their songs were very, very simple. But if you read the lyrics, parang, wow.
grabe, no? Malaman.
Yeah, malaman. And sa foreign side naman, there's this band that not a lot of people know about. It's a band called Popsicle. Okay, they're on Spotify. And then, nung first album ng Sugar Free, it was co-produced by Rico Blanco eh. And Rico and I are really good friends, and we're such huge fans of that band. So, there were parts of, I don't remember which song, talaga sinasadya namin to make it sound like Popsicle. Tapos proud. Wow, it sounds like Popsicle. Yeah, put that in there. So there's Popsicle, there's Sting. I really, really admire, because when he left the police, that's when people really discovered what kind of a genius
Ah,
that
it's
person
genius.
is.
Yeah.
And he still releases albums. He had a music. He wrote a whole musical called The Last Ship, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Um, I I like Simon and Garfunkel.
I do
Yun
too.
pinapatugtog ko sa vinyl. Just during my downtime. I usually kasi start and end my day listening to um to records,
Mhm.
and courtesy of my friend Bobby Banaag from Plaka Planet.
Mm.
Kasi sabi niya, gonna give you a record player. Sabi ko, sure. And then he ended up giving me records also. So, I listened to Simon and Garfunkel during my downtime. Bruno Major, I listened to. Um,
Favorite
dami eh.
favorite Simon and Garfunkel song.
Ah, it really has to be Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Okay.
Yung,
Okay.
every time I listen to the chorus, parang I feel like crying eh.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Mabigat.
it's
Mabigat.
beautiful.
Pero
Beautiful.
as much as like that, I like the 59th Street Bridge song. It's so short, but it's such a happy song. Now I want to backtrack. Diano, what in their album do you like? Is it Chinelas? Is it State U? Is it Banal na Aso? Trapo?
Buong
Kaka?
album eh.
SM? Ayop,
Buong,
no?
buong album. Yung
Akjo!
first, first track, I think, was Kamusta Na?
Kamusta na?
Kamusta na?
Ayos pa ba?
Ayos pa ba? Napakasimple.
Oh.
Tapos, biglang, kinukwento niya yung journey ng isang tao na nagrarally, tapos mamaya nasa EDSA ka na lang naglalakad mag-isa. Really
Oh.
resonated in me. SM, I think, SM and Banal na Aso, yun yung mga hits nila eh. But
Oh. Oh.
there's so much talent in Dong's songwriting.
Grabe, no?
There's a song, I forget the title eh, but it wasn't Dong singing anymore. I think it was Eric. Um, Paalam Sampagita, bakit ka lalayo pa? It's one of the later singles.
Right, right.
Yeah, and then after I discovered Colored Red and Yano, that's when I discovered River Maya and Rico. Si Rico kasi barkada niya yung kuya ko.
Mm.
So he'd give us passes to shows, and he went to one of my shows when I had this college band, and then I remember I couldn't get the mic stand to work, so he went up there and he fixed it for me, and the audience was like, "Oh, that's Rico Blanco, man, fixing a mic stand, and we're not even drunk yet. Oh, this is going to be an awesome night." Yeah, and then finally, late to the party ako pagdating sa E-Heads eh. Ano na sila, may second album na sila when I listened to their first one. And I was just floored. Like,
Yeah, Circus was something, right?
Circus was something.
Heavy trip.
Yeah, but early on, if you listen to um, Tindahan ni Aling Nena, uh, grabe talaga. Shirley,
Mm.
there was magic. There still is magic in Ellie's songwriting. Like he makes the best songs eh. Pag tinignan mo, parang, oh nga no, ba't di ko naisip yun? Ba't di ko naisip? Ellie always beats us to every song. Ellie and Rico, they beat us to every idea. And they've
Galing.
captured the 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 Pinoy heart, yung puso ng Pilipino, how we think, how we act, how we interact with the world. So yeah,
Well, I think you're on that right track too. Yeah, that's not sucking up to you, but I think that
I hope so.
your songs do that same justice, no, as Ellie and Rico. Ebe, are 20 years in the music business. Ano pa nasa bucket list mo as a musician?
As a musician,
Hmm.
I think now is the time for me to collaborate. Uh, Parang yung si Chito Miranda of Parokya ni Edgar,
Hmm. Hmm.
this morning asked his fans, parang, oh, we've collaborated with Bamboo and with Rico, with everyone. Tapos tanong niya yung fans, sino pa yung gusto nyo maka-collaborate namin? And me, being me, sabi ko, ako. So now, sabi ni Chito, oh, seryoso ka? So yeah, let's do it. So maybe we'll talk the next
Nice.
few days. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I've been talking a lot lately to this young talent who I think is the best in his generation. His name is Unique Salonga.
mm,
Yeah, he used to sing for Four of Spades, but he's gone on to release two magnificent albums. So yeah, we've been talking, and hopefully we get to work
nice.
someday. My ultimate dream is to still work with Gary Granada, but we'll,
Wow.
yeah, we'll see where that goes.
When you
But
perform with the Manila String Machine, um, can you tell us how did it happen? That was absolutely incredible. You
um,
didn't play guitar then, didn't you? You just sang, tama ba?
I did for
Oh, you
this
did?
concert.
Huh?
I did, I did
Okay,
until
okay,
my fingers hurt. Because I played 20 songs eh.
okay.
Um, I've I've always enjoyed having strings in my songs. Early on, syempre hindi pasok sa budget, so we couldn't afford strings. But in 2004, I think, there was a big show called Rockestra with
Mm,
the Manila Symphony Orchestra, and Sugar Free was one of the bands that got invited. And then we played three songs, but sabi ko, oh man, we have to do this again. So Sugar Free ended up doing three more shows with the Manila Symphony Orchestra at the Music Museum. So when my manager and I were conceptualizing the concert, sabi ko, there's gotta be strings. Sabi niya, oh, sure, we'll get one. Sabi ko, I don't want one. Oh, we'll get a quartet. It's like, I want a whole army. Get me a whole orchestra. So that's basically what she did. And I've worked with the Manila String Machine with 3D naman, both at the Music Museum and the Kia
Kia Theater.
Theater, which is called, which has gone back to its old name,
Was here.
New Frontier. There you go. So there had to be an orchestra. My only regret is that we had no video documentation. Hindi ko alam ba't, because
Sayang.
sayang talaga. I'm so busy with shows and recording and pero now looking back na everyone's home right now, how I wish I could upload the whole concert on Facebook or on YouTube. And kasi we were already planning a repeat kasi the concert sold out eh.
Hmm.
By the grace of God, bumenta yung concert. So we wanted to do it again, but I don't think that's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. I mean, until there's a tried and tested vaccine, and until it's made available to the public, I don't think big shows are coming back anytime soon.
You told me recently during one of your online shows that one of the things that you had to learn was to be a little bit more techy. Tama ba? And even working on stuff like your backgrounds. You wanna share that with the people watching?
Right. A few days after the lockdown, I got a call from the team of Mr. Ryan Kebyab for Bayanihan Musikahan. Sabi nila, Ebe, we need you to play. People are really sad and lost and confused and they need music. So I said yes agad. Pero sabi ko, I only have a phone with me and that guitar, that small guitar at the back. So my first 2 or 3 shows, yun lang talaga, phone at saka ano lang, wala
Ikaw,
pang wala pa wifi noon, so naka-data lang. Tapos ang dami nanood, parang nag-crash yata yung phone ko. So I had to
oh
do it
no.
all in the middle of the show. Parang I had to do it all over again. Tapos nung na-lift na yung lockdown, because I've been an ambassador of JB Music for more than a decade now. So sabi ko, I need help. So, they gave me this mic, an interface, and speakers as well, and keyboard, but you won't see everything. Tapos, a friend of mine works for Panasonic, so uh, Alex Ruelo, thank you. You know, hulog ka ng langit. He lent me his camera, and then the light is from Alex Ruelo, and then there's this whole mood light thing that's really cool. Actually, you can change the color. Huh? Awesome. Yeah, so let's set it to blue. Okay, and then ayan, much cooler. And then ano pa ba? And then there's this really generous company called Noiseless. They make sound panels, really. Sila ang everything you see at the back is through the generosity of my friends from Noiseless. That Philippine flag is a control cube, actually. It's a paintable control cube. So
Wow.
that's a photo taken by my brother Dennis. So
Okay.
thank you for giving it to me for free. Thank you for not charging me. So this is my stage now, and I think the setup is now complete. It's come a long way from phone and the guitar.
Mhm.
So I do understand that the shows have to keep going, and some brands still call. I have quite a few shows coming up. So hindi kasi pwede na yan. Gitara lang saka phone lang, because my attitude that's from the day I started until today is never changed. Every time every time people invite me to perform, I always have to give it my best. That's the least we we musicians can do for our audience.
Right. I have two more questions.
Sure.
Most recently, you did this songwriting seminar with Jazz Nicolas for Phil Pop.
Yeah.
What was it like teaching these kids and these newbies and people who wanted to know about songwriting?
Oh, well, it's basically just Jazz and I sharing what we've learned in the industry so far. I've been here like 20 years. Jazz has been longer, but he never ages. You look at him.
Oh,
You look
God.
at this picture like from 15 years ago to today. Mm, I swear.
Oh,
I swear. Meron tinutulugan niya na chamber si Jazz eh. So, to make sure that he wakes up the same, looking the same every day. But yeah, it's basically just in not so technical terms. What we've learned so far, the mistakes we've made along the way, the information that we can pass on to the next generation. And I'm just taking my cue here from Ryan Kayabyab,
hmm,
who's become like a father to us musicians. Like every time we ask him questions about music, he's so generous. Wala siyang pagdadamot sa'yo. Kunya, Ebe, you know what happened to me kasi that time is ganito, ganyan, ganyan. So maybe you can apply it to your situation. And if a national artist goes out of his way to teach a fellow musician, dapat ako rin. Dapat tayong lahat. So we should all take our cue from Mr. C.
grabe yung passion ni Mr. C up to now, no? The way he
Sobra.
talks about music, it's dripping with emotion and enthusiasm.
Sobra. It's the national award thing. It's long overdue. You should
Definitely.
have gotten it like a decade ago at least. You
Absolutely.
know, all the wonderful things that he has done for our country.
Right.
Hi, Mr. C. In case you get to watch this, we miss you,
Yeah,
sir.
some of the people who are associated with him are watching. I think Mr. Noel Cabangon is also watching. Magandang gabi, Mr. Cabangon. Idol din natin yan.
Well,
Ebe, last question. What's your UP story? What is a nice UP story for you to tell?
hmm, man, where do I begin? There's a show kasi mga kaibigan called Maski Pops.
Yes, Mr.
Alright.
Pops. Yep.
And then Maski Pops now has become like this big thing eh with the DJs and sa Sunken Garden na siya. Dati
Oh,
mga kaibigan, sa ano lang yan, engineering steps lang yan. Okay? So what we did, what Sugar Free did, one of our first shows was we lined up early. Kasi ganun yun eh, papalista ka eh. So, and then sabi nila, okay, you guys are part of the show. And then umabot sa point na nade-delay. Tas ano na-push back na lahat ng banda. And then we were supposed to go on. And biglang sabi sa amin, guys, there's this artist na kanina pa naghihintay. May album na kasi sila eh. Sorry paunahin natin sila. Tapos we went home feeling so dejected and kaya sinasabi ko kay Jal noon, sabi ko, I'm not gonna stop until we have our album and you know, I I deserve to be treated equally, you know. So, tas ganun din sa UP Fair, pumipila rin kami ng 6 p.m. Tutugtog ako ng 4 a.m. So, I mean, awa ng Diyos, medyo na ano naman na, things are better now. So, instead of 4 a.m., now I get to play at 3 a.m.
teka. Let's
But
backtrack tayo.
these experiences, kasi I don't take these things personally yung mga producers ng mga shows na yan. But I want you to know, I remember being in that situation and telling myself I'm never going to put myself in this spot ever again. So I'm gonna work really, really hard. And if I don't get your attention today, I'm gonna work harder until you cannot ignore me. Kapal
Okay.
na mukha ako, no?
Hindi. Okay lang. Ako rin, I told my bands, we're not playing at the time. Kahit mauna tayo, okay lang sa akin. Basta tugtog tayo maaga. But
Right.
okay, does that have some bearing with, I know you told me the story about your pet, kaya yung sa wakas yung title. So ganun din ba yung sa Maski Pops? Kaya sa wakas din, ganun ba yun?
I guess, you know. Hanggang ngayon naman, mga shows, they get delayed, especially the UP Fair. But you take these things in stride and then you learn. And
Yeah,
then you use it as motivation to, be a better version of yourself tomorrow. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. I'm not talking about being a better musician. I'm talking about like being a better human being,
that's
you
right.
know.
That's right.
So, you learn every day. Every day is a chance naman talaga to pick up something new.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
And then since we've come to the end of our show, you might want to plug anything that you're doing in the very near future. I understand you have an online show. And after that, where can your fans, music fans, buy the next pressing?
Right.
Ano bang balita?
Well, first of all, the on Saturday kasi I had a I had a small restaurant in Los Baños
Hmm.
that fell victim to the pandemic.
Oh,
So
wow.
unfortunately, we had to shut it down at the start of the month. And on Friday would have been our sixth anniversary. And I do the show every year at that really small, cramped space.
Hmm.
Sobrang liit. The tickets sell out in 10 minutes kasi only like only 30 people get in. Ganon kaliit. So we're doing a show online on my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Ebe Dancel Music. And then the second press, how do you say second press? Second pressing. Second
Pressing,
press.
pressing, pressing.
Second pressing.
Yeah.
Right. The second pressing of my album Balik Tanaw through Poly East Records is coming out in November. Meanwhile, the CDs are available sa Shopee, saka sa Lazada.
Mm.
And then of course on all digital platforms, you have Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, I think YouTube. Oo. And Deezer, it's also there. Tapos you just I'm not a very hard person to find online naman. I'm the guy who posts like random stuff. So, but right now, what I'm busiest with is that 1 month ago today, I signed up with a new record company called Widescope Entertainment, but not as a musician. I'm actually an A&R
Wow.
manager now. Yeah, so what I do all day is I'm on Spotify looking for artists that I can possibly sign up and help. We have a few in line already, and I'm excited to be like this hands-on na parang tatay na parang okay sige gito ano tayo, record tayo, mag photoshoot tayo. I'm so I spoke to one of them earlier. Tapos sabi ko we're gonna give you this and that na ha. Sabi ko never forget this day. And not a lot of people will have the opportunity that you now have. So make the most out of it. Sabi
Nice.
ko, I know a lot of people who are like you. I was you. Ellie was you. Rico was you. So it's what you make out of the chance that people are giving you. So I think Widescope has also given me the platform to finally, give back to the next generation of musicians,
Nice.
find the most deserving talent. Kahit hindi marami yung fans mo, hindi mahalaga yun. Ang mahalaga yung puso mo nasa music, that you have the songs, and of course the right attitude, because talent with the wrong attitude doesn't really amount to anything in my book. So and at the time when people are losing opportunities, I'm glad that God has given me this chance to help other people. I love helping people, so I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm really excited about what's in store.
Right. Ebe, I want to thank you for spending time with me on my podcast. I really appreciate it. You've always been generous with that time, no? Even for interviews. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to tell you that.
Hey,
This is a
you know
wonder.
what? I'm just happy to see you. You're my friend. I'm just anytime I'm given a chance to see a friend, I take it. Are you free for a call? Sure. Sorry, I've been talking too much, huh? Kasi kausap ko yung sarili ko buong araw eh. So,
No,
it's
no, no.
my chance also to, and to say hi to everyone. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng
Oh,
ano.
wait, sorry. There's one question coming in from London. Sorry. Do you mind?
Sure.
There's one question.
Not at all.
When will you perform in London now?
Uh, when do you want me to go? Let's find the vaccine first.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
I do hope that during this stage of my career, I don't know kasi if I'm gonna be like peak performer pa when this is all over. Do I do 5 6 shows a week again? I really don't know. But what I do want is to go see my countrymen in the States and in the UK and travel and perform. But in the meantime, mga kaibigan, please wear your mask. If you have no good reason to be out, please stay home. If you take care of yourself, you're taking care of your family. Yun na lang po yung isipin ninyo.
Right. So there you have it, the great Ebe Dancel on Cold Brew with Rick Olivares. Ebe, thank you so much, my friend. You stay safe. God bless you, man, and
Thank
continue
you, Rick.
making great music.
Thank you. Just message me anytime you need anything.
Yes, sir.
I'll just be in front of my computer all day. That's what I do anyway.
Yes, sir. All right. Thanks, Ebe. Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
I want
Rick.
to thank everyone for watching. Good night. Bye bye.